so today we're writing inequalities. What's going to happen is they're either going to give you a sentence and you have to transform it into an inequality, or they're going to give you a story problem and you got to write an inequality for it. I'm going to show you both things, okay, so you're not confused. Make sure you get a few written down in your notebooks so you have good examples for your homework. So the first type that you're going to see today is the kind that they actually just give you like a sentence for, and you have to basically just convert it to an inequality. So here's an example. It says the difference between a number and 3 is no more than 2. The difference between a number and 3 is no more than 2. Remember, inequality looks something like this. Okay, remember that's what an inequality kind of looks like, something like this. So in here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for keywords. Now I'm going to think about the signs that I had yesterday, greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. And there's a key word in here, or a key phrase in here that means one of those signs. What's a key phrase in here that means one of those signs, Matthew?
More than?
No, more than. Actually, it's kind of split up. No, more than. So, in your notebook, go to where we wrote these signs down and find what sign means no more than. What sign means no more than? You should have it written in your notebook word for word. Hold on.
Less than or equal to.
Less than or equal to. Everybody find it? Okay. So when you have one of these, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to find what keyword in here means the sign. After that, your number is going to go on that back side. That's all there is to it. I mean, there's nothing you can do with 2. It's just going to be on the other side of that sign. Now, I have this. The difference between a number and 3. What's a keyword in there? Difference. What's difference mean? Subtract. Okay, so we know subtraction is going to happen. But with what? What's it telling me I'm going to subtract from here? 3 and what?
3 and
A number, right? If I ever see a number, that means a variable. That always means a variable. So the difference between a number and 3, this is how it would look like. Okay. So today, your homework's going to ask you to do 2 things. It's going to give you this, and it's going to ask you to write the inequality, which we just did. Then it's going to ask you for the solution. Now the solution is just solving it. So if I was going to solve this, what would I do next, Matthew?
you add 3.
Add 3 to both sides, plus 3, plus 3. Well, D is less than or equal to 5. This is the solution. Okay, so it's going to ask you for 2 things. The inequality, which we wrote from this, and then it's going to ask you to solve it for the solution. D is less than or equal to 5. What are some things D can be? 5, 4, 3. No, D is less than 5. 5 equals to 1. Yep. Landon.
So what are we learning from this one?
How to write them. How to write them. A little hint, some people don't know which one's the less than sign. Like they get confused which one's less than. If you're confused about it, this is a less than or greater or less than or equal to sign. See how this kind of looks like an L? It's like a sideways L. That's how you can know that that's the less than sign. This is less, the sign kind of looks like a little L. So that's one way to know the difference between the 2 of them if you're not sure. All right, here's another one. The sum of a number and 8 is more than 4. Okay, the sum of a number and 8 is more than 4. So first thing you need to do is you need to find what key phrase in there is for what sign. There's a key phrase in there for a certain sign. More than, okay? Is more than. What sign is that? Should be just greater than this. It's more than. Before we had greater than or equal to, I believe. Right? Yeah. Okay, so then I'm going to 4 on this side. And what does this look like? The sum of a number and 8. Mason.
Whatever letter.
Pick one.
X.
Okay.
And then plus 8.
Plus 8. What tells you it's plus?
Because sum.
Sum. You're right. So this is the inequality. Okay. What's the solution look like then?
Plus, no, minus
minus 8 on both sides. Could be x is greater than negative 4. Does everybody know how I get that? Okay. That's the solution. Now, if x is greater than negative 4, what are some things x do?
Negative 3.
Negative 3, negative 2, negative 1. Does it include negative 4 though? No, because it was or equal to that. You ready to try one by yourself? Try one by yourself. I want you to do this one. Yeah, you would do that all the time. Where's it at? No, I want to actually move it. I don't. I want you to do this one by yourself first. You try that one. Figure out the keyword for the right sign. Write the inequality, and then write the solution. Two more than a number, at least 13. Okay, somebody tell me. First of all, what's the key word up here that I mean?
At least.
At least. So if you looked in your list, what sign is at least?
It's greater than or equal.
Okay, 13 should be in this side. What does this look like? 2 more than a number? What does that look like?
X plus 2.
X plus 2. That's what your inequality should look like. Okay? What's your solution look like then, Mason?
Minus 3 on this side.
Okay, so the x is greater than or equal to 11. How are we doing, some of us? Okay? The biggest thing is to find the keywords. Like, that is like the part you have to have. You have to have those lists of what some of those words mean. I'm going to do this one. This is a tricky one. Subtraction can be kind of tricky, and this is a subtraction one. Okay? So 2 less than a number is less than 9. 2 less than a number is less than 9. Oh, it's this one confusing. This one is confusing because there's 2 less than. 2 less than a number is less than 9. Oh, hold on, hold on. Hold on. Two less than a number is less than 9. Try it and see what you come up with. Okay, you ready to try it? I think I got it. Think you got it? This is the tricky one. These are the trickiest ones. The subtraction ones are horrible ones. What is the key word here? Is it this less than or this less than?
The second.
Second less than, right? Second less than. So less than 9, that's this part. Okay, what about this part? 2 less than a number. Should be what? Should be x minus 2. So many people say, well, 2 less than a number, it's going to be 2 minus the number. That's not how it's written. For the most part, almost all the time, your variable comes first. Okay? Especially in subtraction, most of the time, the variable comes first. And another thing, if I have 2 less than a number, let's say, what's 2 less than 10? Is 8. So you have to think about it in terms of what a variable would be in that place. Okay, so this would be your inequality. Your solution would look something like this. X is less than 11. Kind of the same thing we have to talk. That would be your solution. What questions do you have for me so far? Anything? All right, I'm going to do a few more here with a few more different words here. The difference between a number, and 5 is no more than 15. Figure out what this is going to be. The difference between a number and 5 is no more than 15. Difference between a number and 5 is no more. In your book, it also has a list of keywords on page 498. So if you'd rather look in your book instead of your notebook, your book has all the keywords too. Page 498. Landon, what do you know? Yeah.
So for a number in 5, would it be the number and subtraction 5 or add?
Okay, well, you have to look at the keyword. It says the difference.
So subtract.
Subtraction, yep. So there's always going to be some kind of keyword to tell you what to do in between. Yep. All right, Landon.
It would be x minus 5 is less than 15.
Less than or equal to 15. Use your book notebook, it'll tell you what it is. And then, what are you going to tell me, Nolan? What's next?
You have to
Yep.
add 5 to both numbers.
That's what it looks like. What questions do you have for me on these? And actually, the more you practice it, the easier it gets. Looking for keywords, number 1. And number 2, it's always going to most likely be set up in the same way. It's going to have your variable and something else going on, your sign, and then your number. Always going to be set up the same. Okay? Now let's go to the actual story problem. Now, here's an actual legit story problem that has this. So if you want to get it written down, you can, but I have other ones you can write down if you got it. So this says an elevator can hold 2,800 pounds or less. If the elevator is currently holding 2,375 pounds, how much more weight can it hold? So our job is to write an inequality to figure out how much more weight this thing can hold. I don't want an answer. Do you have a question? No, I don't want an answer yet because you don't have the answer yet. So first of all, how much total weight can this thing hold?
2,000.
Okay, so that's going to be on one side of your inequality. That's as high as it can go. Now, can it go over 2,800 pounds? Can it hold 28 or 2,801 pounds?
No.
Can it hold 2,800 pounds though?
Yes.
Can it hold 2,799 pounds?
Yes.
So what I have on this side has to be less than or equal to 2,800. Okay? Because if you just think about it, you say, okay, what can it hold? It can hold 2,800 pounds, yes. It cannot hold any higher than that, but it can hold 2,800 pounds or less than that. Everything less than that. So then I have to figure out, okay, what is my other side of my inequality look like? Landon?
I have a question.
Yep.
Why don't we just do this the elementary style and just subtract 200?
Because it wants to know all the possible answers that can be for this problem. It wants to know all the possible answers.
But it's asking how much more can it hold, so you just subtract 2,800 and
Yeah, but it could hold 2,376.
no. Oh.
Thank you. Yes. It can look. Yeah.
It's asking how much more it can hold from 2,375.
Okay, but then let me finish it out. Write an inequality to figure out how many pounds this whole thing can hold. Write an inequality to figure out how many more pounds can go on this elevator before it goes over 2,800 pounds.
So
That's what it wants to know.
so it's just 2,800 minus 2,000.
Okay, that's a start, but let me keep going. Okay, let me keep going. So on this side, this is what it has to look like. It has to look like x plus 2,375 pounds. I want to know all the different things x can be. Yeah, if I take it and subtract it, like I'm going to do, I'm going to subtract 2,375. I'm going to subtract 2,375, which is going to give me 425 pounds. Is that right?
Now you're just making something more work.
No, I'm not, because it's asking me what else this thing can hold. Can it hold 425 pounds? Yes. What else can it hold? 424 pounds, 423 pounds, 422 pounds, 420 pounds. That's what it can hold yet. That's what it wants to know. It wants to know how many possible things it can hold before it gets to 2,800 pounds. So if you just give me one answer, that's not good enough, because it wants to know every possible thing that can be put on that before it gets to 2,800 pounds. That makes sense? You guys catch what I'm throwing?
Yeah.
Like, it wants to know how many more pounds can be put on that elevator before I can get to 2,800 pounds. That's what it wants to know. So is there a lot of different things that can go on that elevator before it gets there?
Yeah.
Exactly 425 different things can go in that elevator before it gets there. Does that make sense? It doesn't want one answer, it wants all the possible things that could happen. Okay, here's another example. Derek has $18. In his pocket, he has 18 bucks. He wants to play games and ride go-karts. He already spent $6 on go-karts. Write an inequality to figure out how much more he can spend on a game. Yeah, I know it's $12. I get that. But what else could he possibly spend on games? Could he spend $11.99?
Yeah.
Could he spend $11.98?
Yeah.
Could he spend $5?
Yeah.
Could he spend $1?
Yeah.
That's what he wants to know. And that's what that inequality answer tells me, is all the different possible things that could happen. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes, it does. I don't know why you keep questioning me, but that's what we're talking about today. Okay, so for example, this is how it would be set up. 18. And then on this side, it would be less than or equal to 18, because he only has $18 in his pocket. He cannot go over that, but he can spend up to 18. So this side's gonna look like, let's see, he spent $6 on go-karts. He wants to play games yet. So your games plus your $6. So minus 6. So he can spend on games, he can spend less than or equal to $12. That's what he wants to know. So he could spend from $12 all the way down to 1 cent. Because inequalities you want to find, there's tons of different answers to inequalities. Then just don't go. Okay. Yep.
Do you always add?
Today I think so. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure. I have to look. I have to look.
Always add.
He wants to know if you're always adding in the front. I'm not sure.
No. Not always.
It depends on how it's worded, but today I think so. All right, so I'm going to do another one for you. Okay, are you ready? This time I want you to write the inequality, because this is where you're going to have to do homework today. You're going to have to write the inequality, you're going to have to solve it, and then it's going to ask you to interpret it, which means that you have to tell what it means. So like if I was going to interpret this, it means that he can spend $12 or less on the games. He can spend $11.99 if he wants. He can spend $12 if he wants, but he can't spend $12 and 1 cent because he doesn't have that in his pocket. So basically, I want you to explain what this is. So, all right. Don has $20. Okay. He wants to buy a book and a CD. The book already costs $4.50. Write an inequality. To figure out what he can spend on a CD. Okay. So the first thing you have to do is you have to write the inequality. Okay. So he has $20. He wants to buy a book and a CD. book already costs for 50, writing inequality to figure out what he can spend on a CD. So let's start writing the inequality. You maybe have it done already. What's your inequality look like? Maybe you're writing it down, I don't know. What's your inequality look like? He has $20, he wants to buy a book and a CD, the book already costs from 50, writing the inequality to figure out what he can spend on a CD. What do you think? Somebody haven't heard from me yet today. Isabel, what do you think?
Wait, the answer?
No, I'm the inequality, not the answer.
Oh,
Like, what does it look like?
X plus 450.
Okay,
Less than or equal to.
good, 20, because that's all he can spend, right? He only has $20 time, so you can only spend $20 or less. And so solving, what's your solution,
15.
Matthew?
1550.
Okay, you have to write it in inequality format. So the x is less than or equal to 1550. You know how I got that?
Yeah.
Okay, so I subtracted 4. This is what the inequality or solution looks like. Now, if I asked you to interpret it, what would you say?
You can spend less than 1550
You can spend 1550
or less.
or less. So like you can spend 14 or 1549. You can spend 1548. He has that money left in his pocket. You can spend all that amount. Okay? That's what interpret means. Tell me what it means. What questions do you have for me? Because it's all, today what you're going to do is you're going to be writing, you're going to be solving, and I'm going to give you graphs too. Make sure you work on a graph. Does anybody need to go over any of those things? Graphing, writing, solving, anybody?